This week on Myopia Movies, we are going once more behind the paywall to get part 1 of 2 of 3 of the final Harry Potter movies. This, again, for those of you who don't know, was behind our Patreon for all of last year. So if you wanted to hear it, all you have to do is join the Patreon, baby. There's a lot. There's over a day and a half of content behind there. And if you count our back catalog, the first 100 or so episodes, it's even more than that. Every so often, of course, we release something from behind it. But still, there are movie riffs, and there are Bond episodes, and there are full-length episodes. It's a blast. Thanks, guys.
So we're going to do both parts as separate podcasts. Just because they're separate movies, and there's a whole lot to talk about, and I don't know if you guys want a 4-hour podcast, so we're going to split it up a little bit.
I feel like a curmudgeon. It's like, they made me pay for 2 movie tickets, therefore there's going to be 2 separate podcasts, God damn it.
Well, I mean, they came out a year apart, and I imagine they filmed them together.
Yeah.
But Harry looks like he's 25. This whole time, he must have been shaving 3 times a day.
They were 22, and he was drunk most of the time.
He was what?
He was 22, and he was drunk most of the time.
Why are you describing Nick
most of the time?
Why are you describing Nick on this podcast?
Hey.
He hasn't drunk too much yet.
I am on beer 1, and I brought water this time.
Oh, water. That's the key. See, I actually had lunch today, so hopefully I won't be as sloppy as last time.
That's fine.
I had 2 gummies before I came. So.
We're going to talk some magic.
Yes!
So what do you want to start with this one?
Well, I think Daniel should probably go through the plot synopsis for us.
Well, it's going to be very tempting.
Without any commentary.
Fair enough. Do
you want me to do it?
No, sure.
No.
I'll do it.
Into it.
Well, it's the first half of the final Harry Potter book where the main trio, Hermione, Ron, and Harry, are looking for the Horcruxes. Already 2 are destroyed at this point in the movie, so they're looking for a few others, including the locket from Slytherin, I believe?
Ravenclaw.
Ravenclaw.
No, it was
Slytherin's
Slytherin.
locket.
It is Slytherin.
The tiara from Ravenclaw.
The tiara's from
Diadem.
Ravenclaw, but that's later. So this is about them trying to infiltrate, and they're not at Hogwarts in this movie. This is about them trying to infiltrate the Ministry of Magic, find the locket, and ultimately try to destroy it. And along the way, there are conflicts.
So I have stupid trivia here, which is only stupid because I thought of it. But this was the 3rd. Okay, this is a game we can play. This is the 3rd highest grossing movie of this year, which is 2010. I'll give you a hint. We're going to see if you can name the other 2.
2010.
Oh,
shit.
No.
10 years ago?
I'll give you one hint. 10 years ago. One of them also has Helena Bonham Carter in it.
I think I know what both of them are, but
It wasn't Sweeney Todd, was it?
Who is
was
that?
not.
That was
She was the one who plays Beatrix Lestrange.
Gotcha.
It was the Alice in Wonderland
It was the
live-action remake.
live-action
yes,
Alice in
Jesus.
Wonderland was number 2.
Oh.
And number 1, do you know?
The Avengers movie?
Incorrect.
Ooh.
Toy Story 3 came out this year as
Really?
well.
I thought that was 2009.
God, they all feel so...
It may have carried over.
Oh, all right.
Just like music, don't they do, like, you get the last
like a couple weeks or something.
of December or something?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that might be it.
I know they do that for Grammys.
And it might have been a thing, too, where they released it around Christmas so that it went the next year so it could be nominated for the Academy Award. Then it won the Oscar for Best Animated and just went. But regardless, this is a better movie than Alice in Wonderland. So
Yeah, it is. It absolutely
that
is.
live-action remake sucked.
It was terrible. My mom, like, at the time, before all of the beating of wives and husbands happened, I was a huge Johnny Depp fan, too. So my mom got me that movie when it came out, and it is literally 10 years later still in the plastic.
it is.
Yeah,
I
that's,
never
that's
opened
where
it.
it belongs.
I never opened it.
I never bothered
I
watching
saw
that movie.
I saw that in theaters. I think that was
fine.
the second 3D movie I saw after Avatar, and I was just like,
Oh, no, you saw it.
I did.
I saw it, but it
I
was
also
just on
paid for it.
Netflix at one point. I was just like, this is worth, because, I mean, again, I have a kid. It's colors on the screen, and I was just like, I need to turn this off. I
terrible.
felt bad.
I also paid for it.
It made me want to slap the screenwriter and go, no! Wrong.
It was
Do
that-
it again.
It was that bad?
Oh, it was.
It's
Wow.
really bad.
You don't have to yell, Daniel.
The special effects look great. But everything
Yeah,
else
they
about
did.
it, like the script, is just a piece of I don't know, a piece of fluffy shit from the first movie.
Yeah, it's not good.
Fluffy shit.
Yeah.
Sounds
So
better.
we start off on Privet Drive, and the Dursleys are leaving. And actually, I love this scene, and I think it's just kind of because you get a little bit. I don't remember. This might be a deleted scene. I don't know if you guys went back and watched it, but they do include Dudley telling Harry that he never thought he was a waste of space.
I remember that in the book.
And I think
in the book.
so it's in an extra scene.
Oh,
So
extra scene.
Yeah, watch the
Oh.
extra scenes. But I'm sad that they left it out because I feel like it was a nice addition. But I also thought it was weird that Harry's like walking around the house like silently. In the book, he kind of narrates it to Hedwig, which I thought was adorable. And I hate that he let Hedwig go. That is the dumbest thing ever. Like, why? What purpose does that serve?
To sever any connections that people could use to find Harry, because at this point the Death Eaters are like installing puppets in the Ministry of Magic to kill him.
I guess. I don't know. It was just...
Well, I just imagine like a little bug, like they're tracing his owl. Like,
Okay, well, because she's a snowy owl. So, I mean, I guess that makes sense. But, like, if they're waiting for him to show himself or whatever, like, wouldn't they see her leave? Like,
does
why?
Polyjuice potion work on animals?
No.
That's
And you're not supposed to use animal hair, remember?
Right.
Oh,
but
yeah,
that's
so
On
the
humans.
second one.
Yeah.
That's on human
Yeah.
transfiguration.
No.
Yeah.
But I was thinking like you could make Hedwig look like a different kind of owl.
Right.
Like get it streaks
I mean, he
or
could have
something.
transfigured
Right.
her, but we all know they all
like
suck at
COVID
transfiguring
streaks,
anything.
get it like pink, punk it out.
Yeah, right?
No, okay, so regardless, at this point, everybody's talking about me. It's playing in the background. He's walking through the hall that, like, whatever house they rented for this. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of people start complaining about the decor.
Can we also talk about, I think this is around the same time, where Hermione's defense, which is even worse, is her erasing her parents' memory of her existence.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That
so
is a
that's
hard
rough.
scene.
Yeah,
That is
tough.
rough. And I think in the movie it's glossed over a lot, but like because they show her do it, and it's not just that she made her parents forget her. She convinced them that their entire life before that year didn't exist, and they moved to Australia.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like it's so much
Oh, that was
more
in the
than what
book?
it's so much more than what it was shown, and it's like, you know, as you're going through and Ron is getting moodier and moodier and more of an asshole, she keeps being like, I know you miss your family. And he keeps he throws it back in their face like, you guys don't even have parents to worry about. It's like, fuck you, dude.
Well, that
Like,
was the
are you kidding
Horcrux's
me?
fault that he was such
It was not, because he's a whiny
Well-
fucking bitch to begin with. This
Well,
whole
wait.
movie, he's a whiny bitch.
I wouldn't say that he's a whiny bitch.
Okay.
Myron and I are gonna have a hard time this movie, I think.
He's so Ron was. Well, do we want to get into that? Well, I'm gonna make
Yeah.
a short
Do it.
comment.
You know, get into whatever.
Get into whatever.
So he's a part of a very, very big family.
Very good.
Yeah.
He's used to not being alone at all. He's used to having loved ones that are super close and love him. So, from his perspective, he's just like, he likes family. He's the warming glue for the trio.
Yeah.
He's
I get that.
He has the perfect life that neither Harry nor Hermione have. Harry obviously was
Yeah.
born and
Yeah.
was, but he has no parents, no family, and the only family he has hates his guts or
Yeah.
treats him like shit at least.
Yeah.
Hermione is a Muggle born, so her whole life has just been regular, us
Yeah.
world, and then
And an only child.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
And
I
the only
get,
child.
I
I'm
I'm
get
sorry
that.
to cut you off, Myron. At any
you're
point in
not.
these movies, yes, I am. He's a guest. I don't want to be rude.
Dude, I'm just fucking with you.
I know. At any point in the movies, because I know they said this a lot in the books, did Hermione ever say, "Oh yeah, both my parents are dentists"?
Yeah, she does.
She did.
Okay.
In
That's Slughorn's
movie
party.
2.
Oh, movie
Yeah.
2.
I
all right.
also love how this movie, more than any of the others, rips off Star Wars, right? Hermione has to cuddle with, like, Harry and Ron when, like,
It's the Princess Leia thing. Like, her planet's literally gone. Everyone she knows is literally gone. And he's just having a bad day. Everyone's fine, right? And at the end, even the magic wands are the same color as Darth Vader and Luke's lightsaber.
Yep.
When they're doing
in
the
Return of the
zappy
Jedi.
thing.
Every spell is supposed to have a different color.
That's
right. But like CG in movies is going to probably be a little bit lazy on that.
We're
So,
jumping
yes.
ahead though, because that's
you
part
could pick,
2.
You could pick other
That is true.
colors. You could pick yellow.
I
Well,
know.
only
They
people-
mentioned
only
red, and they
people who
mentioned
have-
that Avada Kedavra is green.
Only
so,
people who have, much clout as Samuel Jackson can change the colors.
Oh, dude. If he busted out a purple lightsaber, I think it would have been madder.
I'm pretty sure, actually, the prop department for that etched bad motherfucker onto the hilt of that lightsaber.
You damn right did.
Now I want one.
I do. I mean, also, I love how about halfway through this movie, they give up even saying spells, and they just start punching magic at people.
Okay, so you can do that. Thank you. I'm so glad you brought that up because you can do nonverbal spells. They started learning it in their 6th year. Harry and Ron suck at it. They don't do it in the books. I hate that they do it in the movies. Hermione was able to master it because, hello, she's Hermione. But, like, everyone else, and maybe the adults, sure, practiced and probably got it down, but, like, you have to yes, I'm glad you brought that up, because it does cover that in the book.
I always
all-
thought about magic in general is that saying a incantation just makes it as powerful as it can be, but that doesn't mean it has to be said.
No, you still have to focus on it the same way when you're doing it non-verbally, though.
Right.
So, like, you
But
can't
I don't think
just
it would be as strong as if you
But I think there's
focus plus say the entire thing.
Right.
Well, and I'm going to correct you slightly, because Ralph Fiennes as Voldemort is not being silent. He's going, "Ah! Ah!" He's having a little old man orgasm
He's
every
very
time he
dramatic.
does it.
He's very dramatic.
I'm not a fan.
I hate that description. I hate that description
anything-
so much, Nick.
I like how granted that is a second movie, but he's like, "What I got
That was dead on. That was
Every time,
dead
though.
on.
I mean, he does it at the beginning of this when he kills Professor Burbage. What is her first name?
Oh, by the way,
Charity.
Yeah.
that is nonsense, and I'll tell you why. You can't introduce courses we've never seen at Hogwarts by torturing a professor to death.
Or Anna Professor. We've never met her before.
I feel like we need
She
to...
was a professor of Muggle studies. When have we ever heard Muggle studies mentioned in any of these movies or any of these books?
Never in
I
the
feel
movie.
like we need to back up a little bit because we're still a
It
ways
wasn't.
from Hogwarts and what's going
Well,
on.
that didn't happen at Hogwarts.
That happened at the very
Very
beginning.
beginning.
It was before we even get to
At
Privet
the,
Drive.
Where they have the
Malfoy
long
mansion.
table, Snape shows up, and
Yes.
Like,
torturing
they
a
know
woman.
when they do that. They know when they're all moving, which no one ever tells why Snape knows that it's different, and it's never covered. And there's just all of these things that come into play in these movies that you don't fucking see, and they just gloss over what it is. I feel like if you've never read the books, there's so many questions to what these things are.
Hey, fancy that.
Snape knowing kind of, I mean, if you've seen the other movies, kind of makes sense because he's a double agent.
Yeah.
So, and
But
they
at this
know
point,
that he's
he's-
a double agent, or at least Voldemort knows.
But at this point, Dumbledore's dead. Who is he double agenting to? Because the Order has ostracized him.
after he killed.
So-
I think there's a blood oath, which we get into in this movie, right?
No, it was the last one.
It's the second
No,
part.
no. When does the tear thing happen?
Second
Oh,
part.
the second one.
Oh,
the
but
second
that's
one.
not.
Yeah.
That's not a blood oath, though.
Okay, fine. I know because there's words
just
in this
his-
magic nonsense that
Those
mean
are just
something.
his memories.
Yeah.
They're just.
Yeah, but he's still doing the thing for Lily.
Oh my
Always.
God, no! We'll get into that next time. That is the biggest load of shit.
Oh, I see.
She
But
doesn't
we'll talk
believe
about
in
that
love
next
anymore.
time. I don't believe in love. It's 2020. Fuck that shit.
Oh well,
Look.
his little crush. Snape is a creeper. He's.
Oh yeah,
dude.
big time, 100%.
Well, there's a few couple things that we should move on from here because yes, there's that scene where Snape goes to meet the Death Eaters and like Lestrange and Wormtail are there.
And he essentially announces that I have an inside source that says Harry's going to be moved Saturday instead.
Right, whatever.
And like the pedophile guy's like, I heard it was Tuesday, and he's like, no, you don't touch me.
And
So
they
that's-
torture one of Snape's friends.
Friends,
Yeah,
fellow
right.
professor,
colleague.
Yeah, colleague. I mean,
I would
I
be
have a lot
upset
of
even if
colleagues
it was
I
a
don't
math
like,
teacher
but-
I didn't like being. I mean, we've all been to a bar like that where there's a woman being, kind of hung from the ceiling. But
Oh yeah, it's on Piedmont Road.
do you have an address? Or are you gonna? You started that way. I was being intentionally vague.
If I tell the address, then I will have to kill everyone here. So.
But yeah. So regardless.
It's a private club.
Yeah, I know. If you have to ask, you just can't afford it.
If you know, you know.
It's
I
right.
saw Paul McCartney. I saw Paul McCartney fuck a goat there once. That's how exclusive it is.
Okay. So he's Aberforth, and this is all part 2. So we're not gonna get into that yet.
But
Let's talk about.
I'm
This.
trying to.
Can we talk about the wedding?
Well, what I was gonna say is we haven't even talked about Harry's escape.
Yeah. Okay. So I have a lot of issues with that because, like, when he leaves and they're going up in the sky and they're fighting, and I get it. They knew he was coming. They knew to expect it.
For a second. Can we
I hate these
describe a
movies.
single scene? So, Harry's walking around the house and the Order shows up.
Yes.
Harry doesn't know what the plan is going to be, but the Death Eaters are coming. The plan is to take everyone in the Order other than Mad-Eye Mooney and a dude who's going to become important later.
Well, it's half of them. So half of them become Harry, and
With
the other half
colleges.
travel with someone from the Order. Yeah.
Right. So that there's like a eight
7.
Harrys.
There's 7 Harrys.
Well, and Harry. So that's 8 people, right?
I don't think so. I think
I
there's.
thought it was 7 people. Well, whatever. There's a
It doesn't
handful of
matter.
them. And a handful of the Order. And the Death Eaters are there immediately because there's
They
a
knew.
league, right? And this is where the pervy director thing starts. There's so much undressing of people who are supposed to be teenagers in this movie. And every time Hermione's in frame, we get this much of her tit. Especially when she's dressed up like Beatrix Lestrange. She must have been furious. Because you notice in the next movie, there's none of it. Like, even at one point when they fall and she's dressed as Beatrice, you see her whole top.
That's next movie.
Yeah.
Down. No, this is in this one.
No, it's not.
When she's dressed
It's
up like
next
Beatrix.
movie.
That's the next
It's
movie.
next-
Oh yeah,
Whatever.
yeah. That is.
Like,
But
there's
yes,
some pervy
straight down.
nonsense
I thought
in
the
this.
same thing. I was like, this is ridiculous. And like her red dress, which is supposed to be purple.
See,
But again,
thing
It's
that
like
I
very
thought-
not Hermione, and it's very not Emma Watson.
No. And anyway, they fly off in all directions, and this is the first battle scene we get of essentially 5 hours of battles in the magical world.
Yeah.
The thing
Now
that
go.
struck me about the scene is, J.K. Rowling is more famous now for pretending like she can decide whether or not
Trans
people exist. And then there's like, you invented a potion that can turn people into different genders. What the fuck are you talking
Well,
about?
I love too that once everyone becomes Harry, they're just like, I can be naked.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like,
Oh,
it's not
there-
their body. There's no sense of modesty, and I
there's-
love
that
that,
was
so
funny,
much.
and that is true.
There's
That
a
is
scene.
totally true. Hey, anyone else want to see Harry's penis? Because he's not going to show it.
I do.
Right.
Right?
There's
Right.
a
Like,
shot
man,
of
oh,
like
man.
Harry in a white well, not Harry, but like one of the
Yeah.
people who just transformed into a
Yeah,
white
who's
lacy
Fleur?
bra.
It was Fleur.
Yes,
Fleur.
yes.
She's in a white lacy bra, and she goes, no, don't look at me. I'm hideous. It's like, oh my God, I loved it. And I loved the way Daniel Radcliffe acted those parts.
By the
Because
way,
you do get like
Yeah.
you get their personalities coming through as Harry. I think he did a pretty good job.
With that, this is one thing that has bothered me because my wife and I talked about this probably yesterday when we were watching. But I hate that for the movies they kept the voices of the actors.
Yes!
That, I was like, that's stupid.
It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Why would you do that? It's gonna give
And
it away.
especially in the second book.
Yep.
When Harry and Ron
Are Crabbe and
are
Goyle.
Crabbe and Goyle,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Oh, you got to change your voice." I was like, "That
It doesn't make
nobody
any
in the
sense.
right mind."
But like physically, it doesn't make any sense. Your body is literally becoming someone else. Your voice box is different. Why would you have your voice?
They should have just had the actors
I just-
act
Yeah.
like they.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Like that one episode of The Good Place where Janet's playing all the characters.
So we have the Polydeuce, we've taken off, and like what I hated about this scene is that you've got Harry and Hagrid all over the streets.
yeah.
Yep.
Like why? And then there's a lot. Y'all forgive me. I know I was like, I'm not going to compare it to the book, the whole fucking series, and I didn't. But for these two, God damn it, let me have my rants, because this one,
Fire
they're
off, Kelly.
like
Fire off.
in the books, Harry's like, there's literally a line, a little spot where, for whatever reason, J.K. Rowling decided she needed to put in a thought from Harry that was like, the Muggles must think there's fireworks. But no, we're just gonna take a giant, half giant, and a giant fucking motorcycle and just go through town with people on broomsticks Like it's no big deal.
Except
in the middle of London.
That's already happened, though. It happened in the first movie.
It's stupid.
It is stupid, but in the Sorcerer's Stone, when Hagrid...
No, he went through the skies. He wouldn't have been seen that way. This way, he flew
at
there.
the very beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a flying motorcycle.
He flew there, you know? But now they're on the fucking road in a goddamn tunnel.
Well, and they cause accidents.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how are you going to... And the Ministry's been infiltrated. So how are you going to handle that? Come on. Like
It was just for an action scene.
It's stupid.
There always needs to be a car action scene, no matter where the movie takes place.
I know.
It could be Pirates of the Caribbean, and they'll hide some fucking ships going through
high-speed
like
horse
that.
scene.
Right.
By the way, I feel callous pointing this out right now, but after all the Harry doppelgangers and the Order go out, this is a scene where Hedwig is killed.
Oh my god. Which is so... Oh my god, it gutted me.
But not...
That one gutted you? That
my
was
God.
stupid.
No, I
Dude,
hate it.
the bird
But
flew into an explosive,
I
man.
hate it in the books too, though. Like it makes me so sad. And I really thought I was gonna get through this scene. And I was sitting there and I was eating my lunch and I was like, I can do this. This is gonna be fine. I'm gonna be fine. And Hedwig dies and Harry like screams and I literally choked on my food with a sob. Like I was just,
Dude.
I can't do it.
Well, there's
I
some...
can't do it.
That
it
and
makes
Dobby,
me
I
sad.
was just with bitter indifference.
There's some
Guys,
good news,
Dobby,
though. There is
Oh,
some
God.
good news. Hedwig may have been killed in this movie, but not the Angry Inch.
Great. Hey.
I'm keeping that.
So
Correct. You just recently read the book.
Yes,
This
I did them
book,
both
right?
together this time because we
Right.
had time.
So correct me if I'm wrong. Was the reason that Harry suspected, or wasn't it in the book, the reason that they knew it was Harry because he used Expelliarmus?
Yes, that's exactly what it was.
In the
'Cause it's his
movie, they said it's
signature
because of Hedwig.
because of Hedwig.
And I thought
Which
that
both work. And
They
I
do.
understand if they're not, and they didn't really use Expelliarmus a lot in the movies, so that I understand them changing.
I will also say it's stupid if you're trying to escape the Poe or whatever, like a violent mob that's trying to kill you, to put him with Hedwig. With who's the dude?
Hagrid.
Oh, Hagrid.
Because he can't use magic.
Yeah,
But
they expected
he's
him
a
to
body
be with,
shield because his body is.
Yeah,
but he's
not
in a
as susceptible.
sidecar.
So he didn't die when
So
he
the-
got hit. He just knocked out.
And the
for-
reason is because they thought the Death Eaters would expect him to be with Mad Eye, and they did. Voldemort went after him first.
Sure.
Yeah, that is-
And Mundungus split.
Now,
And then Hedwig swooped in, and that's what gave Harry away.
I would have loved to see Mad Eye die.
yes,
Oh my
exactly.
God.
He's
They
just
should have
announced
shown it.
dead.
No. It's not that I
Well,
don't like
no.
Mad Eye. I just want to actually see him fight. He's supposed to be a great wizard. I want to see that opportunity.
That's
Yes,
true.
exactly.
Prime.
That pissed
That's
me off
true.
so much about this movie. We
Well, you
we
don't see it
just-
in the books either. You just get the announcement in the books,
and
too.
this is the first time that we and Harry see the real Mad Eye.
in the movies.
Right,
yeah.
in the movies. Because obviously, the
Well, I
previous,
mean, in the
previous movie,
fourth
he was
one,
fake.
they see
he
the
was-
real Mad
he was
Eye
played
in
by,
the box, but
the
and then-
Doctor.
Yeah,
David
David.
Tennant.
That's Barty Crouch. but-
Sorry.
By the way, DuckTales, as of this recording, was just announced as
It was
getting
gonna get
canceled
canceled,
after
yeah.
the third season. But
Oh, my baby.
I know
David will be fine.
He's no longer Scrooge
He'll be
McDuck.
fine. He'll be fine.
I mean, I know he'll be fine. He's always fine.
By the by, did you notice who Bill was? The older brother that is introduced
Yes,
to us?
he's the son of Mad Eye, the actual actor. That's his son.
Yeah, and he,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And he also is the guy who plays General Hux in the new Star Wars trilogy.
Oh, there you go.
Yes, he is.
The Nazi guy with the short red hair in the movies.
Yeah.
He's also
he grew it out this time, but that's
Oh, wait a minute. Whoa,
yeah,
whoa,
yeah.
whoa.
Yeah.
He's also in Dread. If you
Oh,
saw that, he
and-
was the announcer for what's her name, Lena Headey's villain.
Wait a minute. Was that not him who was in 369, the episode 9?
Yeah.
And he got shot in the leg.
Yeah, and
'cause
he's in all three of them. He gives
Yeah,
that
but
like
yeah.
it's him, and he's playing the older brother. Which the first time I was like, I
Yeah.
recognize that creepy guy.
And he just
The
walks
long red
in.
hair and everything.
And he just
Yeah.
walks in and he's like, ran into Fenrir Greyback, who is the pervy snatcher, by the way, guys, because they don't address that. But anyway,
Well,
and I'm just like, you guys, you can't just do that because he was attacked by Fenrir at Hogwarts when Dumbledore died. There was a whole big battle that we didn't get last movie, and it's just fucking
Yes.
can't just do these things.
Wait, Dumbledore died?
Spoiler.
Do you see
Spoiler
how frustrated
alert.
I am right now when
I
you
think
feel
I
like that's
watched
the
the wrong
same comment?
movie. Are we doing Short Circuit 2 this week? Sorry.
Well,
Sorry.
let's go
Wait, what
ahead-
movie are we on? We're on Short Circuit, 7?
That's right. Anyway, so
bringing it back.
at this point, George is hit, but he'll make it. The only one who dies this time is Mad Eye. But don't worry, plenty of other people are gonna die.
Yes.
Eventually.
Next scene is the wedding. Pretty
Yes.
much.
Fleur's dress.
where
oh my God.
Ginny asks Harry to zip her.
Yeah.
Dude.
That was a good scene. I like that scene.
Again,
I like
though-
George in that scene. I like George sticking his toothbrush in his empty
his-
ear
right.
hole. I don't know why.
I
but
also
love
love
it.
him in the kitchen just pretending to drink a cup of coffee is the best Big Brother move I've seen in
Yeah.
a movie in a long time.
By
Like,
the way,
I'm here.
this scene also has the Minister of Magic in it, who is
Yes.
Bill Nighy.
Rufus Scrimgeour
And
did a
he is
phenomenal job.
He is wearing the wiggiest wig that I have ever seen.
Oh, Bill Nighy has never not done a phenomenal job in anything.
But I mean, like, that whole scene, I don't have any issues with.
Dude,
at
his,
all.
his-
Like,
his
I
Citizen
thought-
Kane scene where he is speaking to the press, he's like, we're coming for you.
That
and
was
the world."
fucking stupid.
But
But the scene...
the one where he's reading Dumbledore's will is very good.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he does a great job. He does a great job.
I also like the because she says it later on in either this movie or this movie. But knowing that Hermione actually was worried, of course she doesn't say anything. But if you look,
But you can see
if
her.
you look to her, she's like, "Oh shit."
She does such a good job acting that part.
Yeah.
Because it's like you get that panic, and she's like, "Don't touch it! Don't touch it! Don't touch it! Don't touch it! Don't
Right.
touch it! Don't touch it!" And then
You
nothing
actually see
happens,
that
and
for,
she,
you know,
you
for a
can see her
second.
like sigh.
Yeah,
It's
I
a really well done
appreciated
scene.
that.
I really appreciated that scene too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's even coupled by the fact that Bill Nighy, when he announces everything, acts as though it's a mystery. I'm Mr. Granger. Or Miss
Yeah.
Granger. And then he hands it across, and he's
Right,
as
his
curious
look.
as everyone else.
Yeah.
He's like,
He's like,
Well, because he wants to see their, I think, like, he wants to see their reactions,
That's
right?
right.
Because he
Right.
knows, but he's like, and this part is kind of missing, but it's
I don't
obvious.
think it's
but
needed.
it's like, why? Yeah, but he's watching them to be like, why did Dumbledore single you three out? Like, what makes you special? Why just you? I know you're up to something,
right.
and
Well,
like,
we're skipping ahead. This is
No, we're
after
not.
the wedding.
we're not. No, this is
with
This
the
is
will.
before the
this is
wedding.
before the wedding.
This is before the wedding.
Oh, this okay.
Because when the
they're
wedding
setting
happened-
up, and
Yeah,
he
yeah.
walks in.
Yeah. And
Which-
Harry is Harry at the wedding.
By the way, Madam
Harry
Max.
is Harry at the wedding, which is bullshit.
You said Harry is Harry?
Yes, he's himself at the wedding. Like, he doesn't. He uses
Oh,
polyjuice potion in
right.
the book because
Right.
people can't be trusted, and it's supposed to be a secret.
They gave him polyjuice.
But now he's just Harry, and so this giant wedding party is like, oh, Harry Potter was at the Weasley house.
Madam Maxine is also at the wedding.
Dude, I love the old drunk in the corner who's like, yeah, Harry Potter, and there's a book coming out about Dumbledore. And I'm just...
Elphias Doge. He wrote the obituary, and he's mad at Rita Skeeter for publishing the book. And then you've got Aunt, whoever the fuck.
Her. She's my favorite character because she's just
Rita?
she is not
No.
Rita Skeeter.
Oh.
Because the old man who wrote the obituary
Yeah.
that Harry's very clearly knows because the picture of him as the journalist is just looking around like he's bored with this shit.
Yeah.
But the woman who interjects after
Oh,
that,
yeah.
What is her name? It's Aunt.
Damn. Yeah.
she is so
Shit.
because she is clearly three. She's on her third
Oh,
sherry,
yeah.
and she's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
he has secrets that God.
That's an accurate depiction of any wedding, I think.
Yes,
Oh,
absolutely
yeah, for
true.
sure, yeah.
The old aunt in the corner who's drunk off
Right,
her
the
ass.
aunt or uncle.
The mean aunt in the corner, because like she's in the book, she's this really horrible old lady, and it's no wonder she lives by herself. But
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
it was
It's
that was
fun.
great. And Harry's sitting there like, well, I didn't know any of this. I can't believe he didn't tell me any of this, and da da da. And it's like, well, the scene's better in the book because everyone's like, why the fuck would he tell you? Who the fuck are you? Like,
Yeah,
it's great.
exactly.
I love it.
Well, there's three things that happened at the wedding.
Oh.
Well, more specifically, there's Dumbledore's will.
Someone got married.
Also,
Well, yeah.
Fleur and Bill. No,
Fleur and Bill.
Bill. Okay,
And
good.
Fleur's dress. Oh my god. Fucking beautiful. And there's only been one person at Dragon Con that's done it, and it was so good, but she was 16, and I was like, I could do this. So many feathers.
I was about to say, obviously, the person
I
who
don't
did this
remember.
was
I
Kelly.
have
but
nothing to add to this part of the conversation.
You know what? The person who did that at Dragon Con, it was Nick.
Dream cosplay for me is Fleur's wedding dress. The swans.
That's a good one.
I don't even remember.
Wait, like Bjork?
Dude.
Do you remember when Bjork showed up in that swan dress?
Oh,
It's
shit.
different.
remember
That's
that.
not. It's not the same.
I do
Swan
remember
dress.
that.
It's not. Go with your. What are your three?
Well, what I was talking about is after the wedding, or like around the same time, they're reading Dumbledore's will.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about with
Yeah.
Scrimgeour, but we didn't talk about what they got. So do you want to take that?
Yeah, I absolutely do. The book Tales of Beetle the Bard, which
Kids'
is
stories.
right, exactly,
Rabbity
which is
dabbity.
now an official book that exists somewhere. So go order it on Amazon.
Okay.
The snitch that Harry caught at his first Quidditch match,
That he
and
almost
then,
swallowed.
Yeah, that he almost swallowed, and then the Sword of Gryffindor, which
And the put outer.
yes,
The
yes.
Illuminator.
The Deluminator.
Yeah.
And the Sword of Gryffindor he doesn't get because it belongs in a museum.
It belongs to the.
So do you, Mr. Potter.
And then it will appear when he needs it. That's what we're told.
Yes. That's what we've been told. That's what we know is coming.
Well, he also says that they don't know where it is.
Yeah.
Right. Well, originally they pulled it out of the sorting
Which
hat.
is like really dumb because
It's funny that he
We
said,
find out that it's-
we're not going to give it to you, but we don't have it anyways.
Yeah.
Do you know where it is? Because
Right.
it would be really helpful
but
if
like
you did.
they didn't even check Dumbledore's office for it.
Yeah.
Like didn't even look. Which I don't even know
Well-
if it's addressed in the book in the movies that that's where it is, but in the books like it's in Dumbledore's office.
Well, after,
I would assume that if, it's this mystical, clearly...
Magical sword.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
it reveals or not reveals itself.
In a time of
Depending
need.
on
No, no, I mean, it's clear. The sword decided, this guy doesn't need me, and it went invisible.
Right.
right.
But it didn't.
Well,
Okay,
we'll,
that's-
we'll
Maybe,
get what
or
happens.
maybe they shrunk it down and they just thought it was a fancy letter opener.
But the thing is, but then you get but then at the end of the
It
movie,
is.
but then at the end of the movie, you get Bellatrix torturing Hermione because she's like, "What else did you take from my vault? What else did you take from my vault?"
Which
And
was
it's like,
doing
well,
it
where
for
was-
someone. I mean,
Wow. Okay.
Girl.
That's
come
where
on.
we went with that.
All right,
because
so,
we're not
would've
getting anywhere
not
else
gone
with this
there
movie. I
with
mean,
that.
come on.
so now that we've made this awkward, let's go ahead and skip a little bit to the next scene. During the wedding reception, we find out that the Ministry of
The
Magic
Ministry has fallen. Kingsley's Link's Patronus comes in and tells everybody, which is what it's supposed to be.
It
It's
was just a
not. It's
ball,
just a ball
right.
of light. But
Of light. Well, but it also had images of people running and screaming
yeah, but
out of the ministry.
Kingsley Shocklebolt's voice, though, in that scene is just like, oh, please.
They're coming.
Well, after that happens,
They're
the
coming.
Death
So
Eaters show
beautiful.
up, and so the trio has to be transported out.
They disapparate, sir.
Very well.
I will say,
Hermione disapparates.
Hermione
in this,
disapparates to a completely different place than is in the books.
in the middle of the street.
Yeah,
In, like,
that was
downtown
not
London.
a
Right.
great place for her to land them.
Now, right around this time, just looking at my notes here, I made a note of, wait, did we just get a restaurant shootout scene?
Yes, we did.
yeah,
Yes, we did in a cafe.
yeah.
So
In
this
a
is
cafe,
the,
all because. Well, I'm not going to get there yet because we don't know that that's why yet. but
well, so this is the Natural Born Killers remake of Harry Potter.
No,
what
this is a scene from Godfather because every scene in this is ripped off of something else. Even
That's
the wedding
true.
scene is also ripped off from Godfather 2.
Yes.
But I will say further.
I have not seen these movies, so it's fine.
Well, she clearly did because they're free, and she was broke at the time.
Just a small confession. I've never seen The Godfather.
Yeah.
It's good.
Any of its
I will say.
Same.
sequels.
So
I know
will
what it's
say
about, of course.
It's AFI shit. It's long. It's worth it. That's all I'll say. I'm not gonna be one of those people who like will sell to death because then you won't watch it. But it's worth watching.
Time out. It's long, it's worth it. That's your description of The Godfather?
No, I will say.
I mean,
it's
I've
worth
never seen it
I mean,
either, and I feel like that
heard-
description
it's
would have
it's
sold
a
me better
classic
on
old
it
movie.
too.
I know what it's about. I've
Yeah.
heard that everybody's, oh yeah, it's great, this and the other. I've just never sat down and was, oh, you know what, I'm gonna watch that today.
George
Yes,
Lucas worked
yeah.
on the script.
Yeah.
They did. But anyway, it's fun. I like it a lot. But again, if it's like saying you should watch Citizen Kane. Well, I'm sure if you like movies, everyone's told you to see it. So like, you're either gonna see it or you're not. I'm not gonna break the balance. It's also one of those fucking movies that like alpha male types quote like it's going to improve your life in some way, right? It's like Scarface. You're just like, okay, get it. You clearly didn't watch the same movie I did, but you telling me the quotes not helping anything, not helping a damn thing, white guy.
But are you allowed
up.
to be an alpha male if you don't quote it though? Like, don't you lose that card?
No, because alpha males are big dick energy types, and they're just going to quote it to you while you're like at that wedding reception.
I mean, I have big dick energy, and I don't quote Godfather. I've never even seen it.
First of all, for you, it's big ovary energy.
You know what?
Big
That's
clit
even
energy.
bigger. Fuck yeah, let's
Big
do
clit.
this.
Big clit energy or big tit energy, whatever you want.
Well,
I'd normally give you a
energy.
high five,
It's
Kelly,
energy.
but elbow five.
Boom, 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 boom. Second, the Ministry must suck. I'm just going to throw it out there. A bunch of high schoolers beat the Death Eaters, and the entire Ministry of Magic falls when some of them are elsewhere. What nonsense is this?
Oh, well, we go into the Ministry later in the movie where everyone's like going to the public toilets, and then they end up, well, not everyone, but the wizards use that as the entry to the Ministry, and that's the first time we've ever seen it in this franchise.
The Ministry of Magic?
Yeah.
No, we
no,
were there.
it's not.
We
We've
were
been
there a couple
twice.
movies ago. Yeah.
Okay.
We did.
Yep.
Um,
But you do notice in this one at the beginning. So we destroy, right, the
Wedding.
no,
Cafe.
I'm going back a couple movies and I lost the statue in the middle of the Ministry of Magic gets completely destroyed when they're fighting Voldemort in the 5th book. So when
Right.
we see it at the beginning
It's totally
of
different.
this movie, it's completely different. And what you don't see, and you can see in detail if you go to Warner Brothers studio tours, I've got pictures, but it's two wizards, and it is exactly out of the book. It's a witch and a wizard standing on a platform, and underneath the platform are all of what the new Ministry, what the Death Eaters, what the Purebloods consider lesser people. So you've
Right.
got centaurs, like rather than them looking adoringly up at the witch and wizard like it was in the last statue, now they're literally crushing muggles, centaurs, house elves, goblins, everything. And it's terrifying.
It is, and I will say that's one part that doesn't make sense to me about both the book and the movie, because those are the people who are allied with Voldemort, the animal, like the mythical animals.
Not necessarily.
Well,
they were split. So you had
Centaurs were about their
Centaurs-
own shit. They
yeah.
said fuck everybody else
Oh,
except them.
I found something
Yeah.
kind of racist. I wanted to share it with you.
and house elves. Okay.
Okay.
No, go ahead, please.
And house elves are, they're unfortunately beholden to whoever, but they don't necessarily appreciate the way they're being treated. Because Dobby tells us that house elves no one appreciate Harry Potter, and you get a lot of the goblins saying the same thing to him.
Granted, this would be a unnecessary. Well, it might not be unnecessary, but a necessary deep cut if they put it in the movie. But I always wanted to know what was the magic behind house elves being subservient to
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's a history to that.
wizards.
I bet you they thought it was a really clever commentary on segregation, because that's what the British would do.
None of the movies.
Yeah.
though.
I did have a really good conversation with Ethan one time about what house elf reproduction would be like, since they are slaves. Like, who gets to keep the baby?
Well,
Is it do they actually mate? Do they just
Well,
spontaneously
I would
reproduce,
assume it to
or-
be like real slavery, and
Yeah.
they just sold it off.
yeah, there you go.
I mean, I guess.
well, I mean,
But-
It's your
in the
property.
book-
It's your property now, so
Yeah,
you
but
can
in the
sell
book, you've got
the
Creature,
assets.
like the book. Creature has it's his mother and his mother before him, and it's the whole
Right.
family. So,
one thing that the movies never
the dad?
address, and Kelly can talk about this more, is Hermione's campaign to free the house elves.
Yes, SPEW.
Yes.
SPEW. The Society for Protection of Elvish Welfare, I believe is what
Something
that
like
stands
that.
for. Digging deep back into my brain, you guys.
Yeah, sure.
But
That's
yeah,
what it
no,
is.
she's great.
Well,
She's great.
It feels weird though that was never mentioned. I mean, because
It's
that was
not important. I mean, I hate to say that, but it's really not important. Like, she makes a bunch of hats to try to set the house elves at Hogwarts free, and no one will clean the.
It's tied
I don't remember anymore.
It's tied to the whole side stories with house elves in general throughout the whole movie. Because
Yeah, they really don't address
You don't
it.
get Barty Crouch's house elf,
Winky.
which was actually important.
Winky was great. Yeah, she
Yeah,
was super
Winky,
important.
and you don't hear about the fact that Winky, Dobby, and Creature are working at Hogwarts.
Yep.
They never mentioned that.
Speaking of Creature, that's an important part of this because he shows up and...
So once they leave the wedding and they have the shootout at the cafe, they go back to number 12 Grimmauld Place. And they have to get through a couple of enchantments that Mad Eye put in, and Creature is still there. They talk to him about the locket. They tell him he can have the fake locket or whatever, and he's super excited about it. I'm projecting the book onto this because it doesn't go into that much detail in the book. And then he goes to look for it because Mundungus Fletcher took it.
Well, either way, this is what prompts them to go to the Ministry of Magic, right? Because that's where the Horcrux is.
Well, because Mundungus sold it to Umbridge. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, boy.
She took it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he didn't sell it. She took it as a bribe to keep him out of jail.
Right.
And now she's wearing it as a brooch.
A necklace.
A necklace.
And
claiming that it's from her
I know
ancestors.
you're chomping at the bit.
I found your racist thing. So
Kelly's racist thing.
Yeah. Well, the racist thing.
No, hold on. Whoa, wait a minute. We're projecting on Kelly for a second.
First of all, this made me want them to do a book or a movie on the First Wizarding War because that sounds much more interesting than what we get in this.
I want that too.
But they list the allies as for both sides, right? You have the Order of the Phoenix, the Ministry of Magic, and the Aurors versus the Death Eaters, the Giants, the Werewolves, and the Inferi. And I was like, what are the Inferi? And I look, and they're essentially zombies, right? They're mostly dead.
They're dead people that are brought back to life. We see them when they get the locket from the last movie, but that's never addressed.
And they're reaching out of the lake. They're pulling him down in the sixth movie. But the affiliations for the Inferi are Lord Voldemort, Dark Wizards, and the Haitian National Quidditch Team. And I was like,
good Lord.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Where is that listed?
On the official Harry Potter wiki. So
Hoodoo Voodoo.
That's right.
I mean, you're right. It's racist, but it makes sense.
Which comes from J.K. Rowling's. Yeah,
well, it
comes from J.K. Rowling's
Wizarding
World Bible that she wrote. So
gotcha.
From
Pottermore. I just want to say the first Wizarding War.
World Pottermore website. So
the first Wizarding War sounds like a particularly contentious Super Bowl.
No, it doesn't.
It kind of does.
So where are we at? We're at Grimmauld Place. Okay. So all of a sudden they're infiltrating the magic or into the Ministry of Magic. But in the books, they spend months planning this. They get Polyjuice Potion ready, which we miss. We skip over all that, which is fine.
You skip that. It was a plan. It was clear that there was a plan.
There was clearly a plan.
These scenes. After these scenes, it was just a completely boring movie, but these scenes pissed me off so much.
All right, go on your rant, because I've had so many. It's your turn.
All right.
Oh, he's cracking his knuckles, y'all. Let's do this.
So, does everybody at the table know about the story of Terry Gilliam and Harry Potter?
No. No, and our listeners might not.
Okay, our listeners might not. So, Terry Gilliam was the guy who did the... He did the animation sequences in Monty Python, like the cutout animation sequences. And he became a film director later. He did Time Bandits. He did the Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, which I know there's a poster that Nick's got right behind me there.
I have it on Criterion.
Yeah, everyone does. But
he also directed Holy Grail and Life of Brian.
No, he co-directed Holy Grail. Terry Jones directed Life of Brian, but... Anyway, that was who J.K. Rowling wanted to direct the movie initially, like the first movie back in the day. And the studio did not even want to take a meeting with him, like at all.
It was Chris Columbus that did the first two.
Yes, exactly. And he's gone on record and says he hates the first two with Chris Columbus. But the whole thing about the Ministry of Magic is they're ripping off visuals from his movie Brazil.
That's right.
Up to and including paperwork going out and attacking characters. And it's like, you know what? Fuck you, Warner
the
Brothers.
paperwork was alive. Hermione casted.
Well, right. That's what happened in Brazil.
Okay. So anyway, we
Daniel,
get the Horcrux
cool your
back.
Shit because he had nothing to do with it.
No, I told Daniel to get his rant out because
no.
Many.
But Terry didn't do that, and I know you're upset, but it's okay. Do you feel better?
The director ripped him off, and that's bullshit.
David Yates is shitty. He's awful. He's terrible. These last 2 movies are horrible, and he ripped other people off. Fuck you, David Yates.
I feel validated by that. Thank you, Kelly.
You're welcome, sir.
Well, and J.K. ripped it off because it's pretty much how it's described in the book.
It is really not that far off.
So, and she wanted him to direct the movie, right? So it would make sense that she made a reference to one of his movies in the book.
That's fair.
That would have been fine, but it's after the studio fucked him over, and then...
but you then cannot change the book, man.
It's Warner Brothers.
That's true. They also had, in Brazil, the movie Daniel's about to have an epileptic fit about, has the minister walking through the stacks, followed by a herd of people who are yelling at him.
That's not what happens. It's Harry Tuttle gets destroyed by paperwork in Sam Lowry's nightmare sequence at the end.
What are you talking about now?
I think you guys are talking about 2 different scenes.
Yes, absolutely.
You don't remember the end of Brazil?
No, dude, I do, but that's not what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about when the minister is walking down the damn hallway and people are following him and shouting at him.
It's like 15 different Percys,
right?
Basically.
Okay,
and that happens in Brazil as well. That's all I was saying. Okay, now you good? Okay. What they're trying to do is sneak into the Ministry of Magic through one of the secret things in. Because
so
they need to get 3 different things. And they end up getting separated because, dressed as these characters, they actually get sucked into their everyday lives.
Right.
Oh, big surprise. You go to work, people expect you to be the person you are at work. Oh, sure.
Well, what happens is there's a bunch of trials going on in the middle of the ministry, and Harry and Ron show up.
What are the trials for, Daniel?
Pardon?
What are the trials for?
They're essentially, we've entered Nazi Germany. Because if there's one thing the Brits remind everyone is that everyone else was wrong about race, but they were pretty good. So the second you allude to another nation, you're clear because you're making fun of the Germans and not the fact that they killed a bunch of Bengalis.
Right.
So we're
Pass the
testing.
buck.
We're putting Muggleborns on trial.
Or people who are potentially of mixed blood, which they go through. That, like literally, we're talking about racial characteristics and blood characteristics.
So they're tracking half-bloods. And they're putting, right now, Muggleborns on trial.
Which makes no sense, because wizarding is obviously a recessive gene, so if you kill all the half-bloods, then you're fucked.
Yes.
But that makes sense.
But they're not, right,
for
exactly,
people who
but they're
are
not seeing it that way, right?
Xenophobic or racist.
Oh,
But
there
let's
you
talk
go.
about the
There you
people.
go.
Let's talk about the people that are enjoying this the most. Voldemort, who's half-blood, and Umbridge, who's half-blood.
Yep.
And this goes back to the old myth that Hitler was like half Jewish or something.
Right.
Exactly.
Which I don't think is true.
Well, I mean,
it wasn't half. It was way less than that, but he had Jewish blood. Yeah.
Well,
we don't know.
He talked about how wonderful the German race was, and he wasn't German.
That's right. He was Austrian.
Right.
But that's what's going on here, and of course we have Umbridge as the head Inquisitor, wearing her finery and wearing the locket that they're trying to get.
Having an amazing Patronus holding back hundreds of Dementors because she is literally in her happy place, torturing, questioning, trying to take away someone's actual life right now.
How did she survive?
I think it's interesting to note that with the locket, as we will see, it's very influential on you. So, Harry and Ron,
And
when
Hermione,
they were wearing
feel
the
it.
locket, they were snippy, and mean.
But
Umbridge,
she's already
however,
so evil.
the locket is literally just a piece of jewelry to her. She's like, "Oh, this is my shit."
How fucked up is that?
It's almost
fucking
as
fucked up is
though
that?
she feels the evil flow through her.
And you know what I'm going to say? This scene
Slaps.
is completely different from the book, and I fucking love it. I love that Harry starts to turn back and goes, "I must not tell lies."
Yeah.
Like, fuck you, you evil cunt.
And I also like that Ron falls immediately into this like janitor dude, and he's like, "Push my wife in there."
Right.
And he feels so bad for this woman, and then
They're like, Ron,
this
you don't
goes
have a
back to
life.
me saying that he's not a whiny bitch. He's really a caring family dude because he has
is.
10
I
people in his
know.
fucking house.
well, I mean, and
But he just lacks so much perspective.
well, and I will also say
And
that
Which
to your
is-
point,
which
that's why
is
I
tr-
understand
right.
that. Yeah,
From his perspective, it should be like
I
his
know, and I
perfect family.
should be nicer about it. I understand that, and the book talks about why he's acting the way he is, and they give him allowances in the book, and I'm just not as nice as they are.
Well, and you're playing against an alcoholic who's not acting at all, and you're playing against Hermione, who's supposed to be hard, right?
Yeah.
And so you need someone to show any emotion in this movie, and it's going to be Ron. He's literally the thermostat for every scene we see.
Emma Watson has the most expressive eyebrows I've ever seen in my life.
Well, I'm not saying she doesn't, but she's supposed to be the tough one.
Yeah.
I know.
And so she's not acting. She's acting very hard, but she's not trying to be emotional very often.
But I also think that that's something to talk about too, because I don't necessarily think that it's Hermione is meant to be the tough one. It's that she's traveling with two guys.
Whiny ass bitches.
Two whiny ass bitches, which is synonymous for dudes. If you've ever been camping, I'm sorry. I've been camping with two Eagle Scouts who couldn't start a fucking fire, so I did it. I get it.
They paid for those badges.
They must have.
One of the best lines in this movie is
before Daniel cuts me off, Hermione is traveling with two guys. She's the smart one. She knows that she has to be the smart one. She knows she has to hold her own. But also, as a woman, she traveling with two guys that are her best friends probably doesn't actually feel like she can be emotional or be the one to break down, because then they're just going to point out that she's the female. Because there is a part in the book where they're talking about the cooking and it's terrible, and you're the one that's supposed to be good at this, and she's like, why? Because I'm the only girl here? And they're like, no, because you're the best at magic. And it's Ron, when he's wearing the Horcrux, yelling at her because mushroom hot water sucks.
What I was going to say is one of the best lines in this movie is Ron and Harry talking to each other and going, we couldn't last 2 days without Hermione. And I'm like, it's about fucking time you admitted that.
And that's at the beginning. That's before all this happened. You're right. That is a great line. But then they're both like, but don't tell her I said that.
Right.
Right?
Well,
because macho man.
Yeah.
Well, and also at this point, Ron clearly has a thing for you, or her, rather.
Oh, and I love that when they're at Grimmauld Place, it does actually show that they might have fallen asleep holding hands, because that is a sentence in the book, and I loved it. I loved that they portrayed that.
I will say there's problems with this movie, but the relationship stuff I think is well done across the board. Now,
for 17-year-olds, I mean, it's great.
Yeah.
Like.
And I will say, the book is, 800 some odd pages, something like that?
Something like that.
You get 4 hours broken up in half. That's still over 400 pages for 2 hours, or
That's a lot.
200 pages an hour. They're going to cut stuff. They're going to use shorthands. I think this first movie does a good job at it.
I think this one does better. There are things it changes that I don't agree with. There are things they changed in previous movies. Some of the previous movies, they would not have known that this is coming because this book wasn't written yet, and I have to overlook that, but I also feel like maybe you could have just left it out.
You do.
Well, here's the problem. After the Ministry of Magic scene, they get the Horcrux from Umbridge, because she's got the actual
And they're
locket.
running out with your ripped off scene.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. What? It's not my ripped off scene. Good
I know, but
Lord.
it's your rant.
It's your Horcrux to bear.
Yes.
Yes, it is indeed. I shook his hand once, but anyway,
The
Who?
Horcrux?
Jesus.
Harry Gilliam.
Oh, okay. We were not traveling with you.
Go ahead.
There's this whole scene at the end of the Ministry of Magic scene where they've got the Horcrux, and then they
Disapparate.
They
disappear.
devolve at first from the Polyjuice potion, so they look like who they actually are, which is probably the worst way to describe that. And like Kelly said, they separate into the middle of the woods.
No. So what happens is when you watch that scene, as they're jumping into the fireplace, which is where they can disapparate from, which is really weird because you would think that that's blue powder, but it's not. So when they jump into the fireplace and they disapparate there, the head of magical law enforcement, Yaxley, who is a Death Eater, grabs a hold of Hermione's ankle.
Yes,
right.
yes.
So they're going back. And you're right, this is really confusing if you haven't read the book. But what happens is they disapparate back to Grimmauld Place, but Yaxley's holding on to Hermione. So he sees the door, which means that he can now get in there because he has literally seen the physical address. So he's part of the Secret Keepers now. So she immediately changes their projection and sends them into the woods, which is why those two disapparitions, Ron had probably already started, in his mind, landing, so that's why he flinches.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Which they
pointing that
say.
out. Ron gets severely wounded to the point
But
where
a small part of that, if anybody just saw the movie and not read the books, the significance of him having actually seen the Grimmauld Place or been in it is important, because in the books, since they are staying at Grimmauld Place, it's for weeks, months.
Yeah.
And there are Death Eaters who know the general location.
Because
They're standing outside, but they can't actually see.
They can't actually see that location because they're not secret keepers. So now, not only Axley can get in, he can share the address with all the Death Eaters.
Right.
Oh, and because I know everyone is going to ask, because this is also
I was going to ask.
The last time we see Creature is in the house. So just to cover that, for those of you that care about Elvish welfare, they decide not to call Creature to them because they don't want the Death Eaters to come with them. So we don't see him in the movies anymore. And I'll cover that in the next movie, his outcome, but it's positive.
Well,
so.
Everything after this is why I don't like this movie too much, because
Second
it's
half.
unnecessary. Right, it's just them in the woods hanging out.
They're not hanging out. They're trying to come up with a plan, and they have to keep moving every day, and they're avoiding snatchers, and they're not in the movie.
And they're doing this all on foot because Ron is weak.
So they
might
can't
have been fine in the book, but just as a movie, it doesn't work.
I'm sorry. Lord of the Rings.
What about it?
That's all it is.
That's all it is.
Walking, looking, looking. You get 45 minutes in one movie, but you watched all three of Lord of the Rings? Sorry, no.
We'll talk about that in the second part of this, but I mean, it just every single time after the Ministry of Magic scene, I was like, why should I care? They're just camping.
Well, no, you care because it's now Ron and Hermione are realizing that Harry knows absolutely nothing about how to do what they need to do at this point.
Yeah, I mean, Ron's whiny about it, but he's not wrong.
Well, there's a scene immediately after that where they try and do spells on the Horcrux and
nothing's working.
Yeah.
It never works, so it's like, okay, we're just going to keep it safe between us until we figure out how to destroy it. And
which is the same in the book.
Like Kellie said, wearing it makes you meaner and more aggressive than you normally would be.
Because part of Voldemort's soul's in it, and he's infecting your soul with his evil.
And specifically, too, because I think when we look at different Horcruxes and the way they're held, it's like...
Sorry, I just realized how stupid this is. Because you're complaining that this is just walking around, and you said it's Lord of the Rings. It's exactly what happens when they wear the ring, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the evil lust.
It is.
It's the evil lust that corrupts people. I mean, they all end up as Schmeagol, and by the end, he even has the sunken eyes. Oh, holy shit!
It's very similar, but each Horcrux acts differently, though. I think that's something that you need to remember.
Sorry,
Oh, really?
Each Horcrux acts a little bit differently,
That's
and
right.
we don't really get that in the movies. But the diary didn't corrupt anybody. It literally possessed Ginny, which is different. The ring.
It seduced her.
The ring, when it's put on by Dumbledore, rots his arm.
Which is why he died.
But the necklace doesn't.
Spoilers.
It's. We'll get there. Yes and no. But the necklace doesn't do that. The necklace, because necklaces are worn on your chest over your heart, it's looking at your heart and your soul's deepest fears, deepest desires, and it's taking those fears and it's amplifying those.
But what did it do with his live journal?
They were in the woods, but the wizards don't know what live journal is.
Well,
they don't even know what cell phones are.
Well, I mean,
But our listeners do.
Did this Horcrux make Harry a big fan of Panic at the Disco or something?
Oh my God. Okay, so after that, Ron has a huff, and he goes somewhere for days.
Yeah, he leaves. He leaves.
Yeah. He
and
leaves
he
the
can't
book.
find them again because they've cast spells to protect themselves.
That's right. And then there's a really hot romantic scene where Harry and Hermione hook up.
Oh my God! They dance to a song on the radio, and she cries.
It was a Nick Cave
They never
song.
hook up. She never liked him.
I can't remember if that actually happened in the book or not.
It
The
did.
dancing?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, yeah. I didn't think
It was another 100. It was another 100 pages of them moving and him not wanting to say Ron's name and being mad, and her secretly crying when she thought he couldn't hear her, and finally deciding that, yes, they have to go to Godric's Hollow.
And yes, we should
because he kisses the snitch in the middle of camping, which he does at the beginning of the fucking book. Ron knew that it said I open at the close. This is really stupid. It's a dumb scene.
I was just practicing kissing on the snitch. I'm sorry. This is really embarrassing. It's been a while since I've seen Cho Chang.
I wish...
Also a racist name.
Do I wish that Harry Potter was kissing the golden snitch on my hip? Yes, I do. But he wasn't. It was the movie. This is unfortunate.
He hooks up with Hermione. I'm going to it's canon now.
No.
He doesn't.
No.
Well, I mean...
You can call me Ron.
He even says that in the books later on. She's always been a sister to me. It's fine. So then they go to Godric's Hollow.
Yeah, but that's what you tell your friend.
You know what? I call bullshit on anybody who ever says, oh, that's just my sister or that's just my brother. That means nothing. That's not your actual blood. Anybody can get fucked.
That's right.
That's like my
Pornhub. No,
I'm gonna interject here too.
I'm just like,
you know what?
That just means you accidentally saw them naked one time and it's awkward.
I have never clicked that tab. That is not one of my tabs.
You know what? These were a few of the best scenes of the movie with the two of them like dancing and stuff because they're.
My favorite scene is her cutting his hair and going, "Oh my god!"
He's like, "What the fuck?
What the fuck?"
Exactly.
It's a scene out of Mr. Bean or something. He's like,
"No, but we totally skipped that though." But that's how they talk about the sword. The sword only imbibes what's given to it, which they don't find out in the books until what would technically be the second part.
Well,
of
the fact of the matter is, these are still kids, right? They're hormones.
They're high school seniors.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Their hormones
They're
are just
17.
going off the charts, and they're in traumatic situations. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. They hook
right.
up. That's what happens underneath the stadium, the high rise.
I was friends with guys in high school I didn't hook up with.
Yeah, but not when you were alone in the woods for weeks at a time.
Right.
Yep.
I was friends with guys in high school that I would literally never hook up with.
Yeah, but I mean, it's Daniel Radcliffe.
I mean, I would hook up with Daniel Radcliffe.
I mean, right?
I would not hook up with Rupert Grint.
Everybody.
I would also hook up with Emma Watson.
I'm gonna.
I'm not gonna argue with you. Oh, dude, we'll get there. But Draco Malfoy aged terribly for this.
Oh,
he did, but I met him, and he's the nicest person.
I'm not saying he's not.
And he's a rapper, which is so funny to me.
He's a rapper?
Yes.
Get the fuck out of here.
I'm serious, and Daniel Radcliffe is a pretty good rapper too. I will share after, and we'll put the links in the comments.
No, we gotta hear this now. I want to hear Daniel.
No. Kelly, you tell me what
after.
to splice into the track, and I will splice it in.
Yeah, we can put the links in.
Okay.
Oh,
all right.
Yeah.
I'll splice it in for 30 seconds.
I don't have anything for Tom Felton. I have Daniel Radcliffe's because he did it on whatever that show was.
By the way, someone who looks like an Aryan should not be rapping. I'm just going to throw that out there. Todd Helton, you're fine. And we'll get to the part 2 where they CGI his head onto a pot-bellied fat man. But, that CGI at the end of the second movie is some of the worst shit I've ever seen.
Well, I mean, Vanilla Ice, that's proof right there that an Aryan shouldn't rap. But...
touche.
From here, there's a violent Penthouse Forum letter being written. And then Ron shows back up.
Yes, and it's because...
I'm sorry to cut everyone off.
Oh, God, you did.
I did, because I don't think we've explained it yet. First and foremost, while he's wearing the Horcrux, Ron gets angry at everybody, and then he just leaves when Harry Potter kicks him out.
I'm pretty sure that you just repeated what Nick said, and Harry didn't kick him out. He got fucking frustrated back and was like, fine, go.
Yeah, and he walks off with his bindle. His arm in a sling, something over his shoulders, I'm going home, I think.
Well, can we also at least mention the vision that Harry had of Voldemort torturing somebody for a specific wand so he can find out where it is?
Yes, we haven't talked about that at all, and I feel like that's super important, so go for it.
Ollivander.
Yes. So he tortures Ollivander first. In the books, I don't remember if it's covered in the movie. I remember him going to... No, he hasn't done that yet. So it is Ollivander that he's torturing in this
because
one.
we find Ollivander in the basement.
Malfoy's basement.
We sure do.
And so Ollivander, the wand guy, who really gets intimate with some of these wands later. He's licking them and sniffing them and oh, it's firm, but not too firm.
It's the right shape some of them. I mean, give him a break. But yes, it's because
with
at the beginning of the movie.
Oh, it smells like a freshman. Like, I mean, he's just handing out wands to children. Like, you know.
No. Oh, my brain just went
helping.
to an old dude handing out dildos to kids. Like, that's where my brain went just now, and it's not good.
Did
You know,
that happen?
sometimes I allude to a joke, and you know
Not
that
in Harry
happened?
Potter.
Oh, I was like, what the fuck?
But he's like handing
What
out wands
school
to
did you
kids.
go
Like,
to
what am
where
I
like a
thinking
crackhead
about?
is
So
flashing
anyways,
like things are jiggling after
So, okay, Daniel, because we haven't talked about it real fast.
I tickled this man. I take that.
Voldemort knows that his and Harry's wands don't really work together because of the Goblet of Fire. So he takes Lucius Malfoy's wand, but still loses the quote-unquote battle to Harry Potter. And Harry's wand kind of acts of its own accord, which is shown in the scene rather than talked about, which is kind of cool, but also very confusing if you don't actually know what's happening. So, and now what he's saying is Voldemort's looking for reasons, alternatives, and just your turn.
Huh?
I mean, I've got nothing after that.
Okay,
Kelly.
well,
You
because
just
he
did
was
it well.
torturing Ollivander asking about it.
Right,
so I didn't
right.
know if you had
The
more after
Elder
that.
Wand.
So, you would know this off the top of your head, so I'll just ask you rather than Googling it. What's the unforgivable curse that makes you follow someone's orders?
Imperious.
Imperio. We use it several times in the next movie. But that's how Lucius Malfoy got off from being accused of being a Death Eater.
That he was imperious.
That he was being, like, he was under
Oh.
that. Because he was just
Right.
following orders as an
Yep.
Aryan, because there was a spell literally
Yep.
making him follow
Yep.
orders.
Yep.
Yeah.
But he was also really, really powerful and really, really rich before that.
Right. No, I get that because he's a white guy. But he also has the
Facts.
coolest wand by far. It's like curved with like a serpent head at the end.
Yep.
Dude, that shit is
It's
badass.
in his
Because
walking
it's in
stick.
Yeah.
And his golfing stick and his
Dude,
in his
it's
cane.
I mean, I will say that's
my dad
classy as
has-
fuck.
My grandfather gave my dad a cane that does that, but it's not a wand, it's a flask.
Nice.
So today I watched Paddington 2 with my daughter.
Sure.
Dude, Hugh Grant has a fucking sword cane. Like,
Yeah.
that shit is badass.
That's
Also,
awesome.
Paddington gets the line. He goes, "Oh, I recognize you. You were a famous actor. Well, you used to be." And he says that to Hugh Grant's face.
Look,
That won my
Hugh
day.
Grant. I just watched The Undoing with Nicole Kidman and Hugh Grant, and he was great.
I've heard
Also-
about that.
Also,
Did
you
you-
guys, Nicole Kidman. Can we just
Did
talk
you
about
need
this
to
woman?
change after that? Like,
After Hugh Grant?
No, after
but
her.
Yes, every time.
oh, good. Dude,
she's beautiful.
Eyes wide shut.
I will
That's
say-
all I'll say.
yeah,
she's
dude,
beautiful.
she gets naked in that. But
She gets naked in Cold Mountain too, but that's
she
a fucking
does.
long movie.
it was
Yeah.
a very cold mountain.
You get to see your butt and eyes wide shut.
I will
Great.
say nothing has ever happened bad once you divorced Tom Cruise, because she just got hotter and hotter and hotter.
Yeah, I swear she's
Katie Holmes?
Well, isn't she? She's
Give her
happy.
time.
She's
Oh, okay.
She'll work it out.
Is that how that works?
happy. Her kids are happy. She's happy.
Oh yeah, because they don't have to.
Siri and Alexa.
Yes.
Because-
It's Surrey and something.
Wasn't she in Atlanta for a while?
She was.
Ooh.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
Katie Holmes.
I mean,
Everybody
everyone ends
is.
up here.
Yeah.
Eventually we get out, but everyone ends up back here. Phoenix, you rise back out.
Boom.
You know, we've been talking for over an
Not
hour.
a Phoenix, a Thrasher, but
Pow!
maybe they'll be back.
You
We're
know
like
what?
halfway
Then?
through.
We
right?
One day my thrashers will come.
We should skip ahead and.
Let's just end this
This
movie.
movie.
Did you know that
No, we
Voldemort's
can't end it
alive?
before we go. We can't end it before we go to Godric's Hollow.
Okay, go to
Yeah.
God. Bitch,
That was
take
in the
us to
first
God.
one?
I'm trying.
Yeah, that was the first one.
All right. So Ron is
Part
fucking
one.
gone, and they decide to go to Godric's Hollow.
The run done gone.
They get there as themselves once again. Nonfiction. Anyways, so they get there as themselves on Christmas Eve, and of course the first stop they make is the graveyard because Harry's like, "Do you think that they would be in there?" Talking about his parents. So he's looking for his parents. Hermione sees this symbol that's been etched into her book on a gravestone. That they don't know what it is right now. It's not a rune. We know that. It's a circle with a triangle and a line in it.
That you're wearing 4 of right now. 3.
You've definitely
One, and then there's
seen
one on
it.
your breast. On the
Yeah. There's probably a couple.
2.
You've
Alright, so
definitely
two.
seen
Two,
the
I got
symbol
two.
on a bumper sticker once or twice.
Absolutely.
ladies and
For sure.
It's a
gentlemen.
triangle
So we don't know
with
what
a
it
circle
is
with a
yet.
line.
We don't know
Yeah.
what it is yet. But while they're in the cemetery, there is this creepy old hag standing there staring at them. So, of course, they know it's Bathilda Bagshot, so they go back with her, who's the author of A History of Magic. She's a neighbor of Dumbledore's. We found that out at the wedding with Aunt Miriam, and Elphias Doge. So they go back with her. And her house is nasty. It fucking stinks. She gets Harry to come into a different room with her to talk to him. And all hell breaks loose. The scene is stupid. They go into a nursery. I don't know what the fuck that's supposed to symbolize because it's supposed to be a standalone home. So I know they're not going into anybody else's home. No.
But they were
were they row homes?
Yeah, they were basically like townhomes. So they went into the other house.
All right. So in England they call those row houses. So they broke into the other house, which is stupid because it didn't happen in the book. Anyway, it turns out Bathilda Bagshot's been dead for like a minute, and she's Nagini. So of course, Nagini's trying to attack them. She, in the book, calls Voldemort. I don't think he makes it to the house in the movie. I don't think that happens, but they leave. Hermione breaks Harry's wand. They end up back out, and they steal the book, The Life and Lies of Dumbledore. Mm-hmm. And they jet. They end up back in the woods. On the exit, Harry's wand breaks. So they take turns watching. He's using Hermione's wand. He hears a whole bunch of wrestling going on in the woods, and there, all of a sudden, is a giant shimmery doe of Patronus walking through the woods. And he just gets this feeling that it's safe.
Which I think in the books he thinks it's a stag at first.
No, he knows it's a doe, and he's just not really sure, but he does get that feeling that, like, you should follow me. So he ends up at a lake. The sword is in the lake.
Oh, it's the frozen lake,
down.
Right?
Yeah. He strips down, breaks open the lake, dives in for the sword, wearing the necklace, like a dum-dum.
Also, you never jump in a frozen lake, especially by yourself, because you don't for the whole...
And he walked out in the middle and made one hole. Like, why wouldn't you just break the whole lake open?
But he also has his wand with him, though, so if he's underwater and shit pops off.
Well, also, no. Let's make it even stupider here because he has Hermione's wand because his is broken.
Right.
He
one less wand. The one competent person.
Yeah, he doesn't have full allegiance to it, and the necklace.
And just because he saw a doe, a deer, a female deer.
Yes. So the necklace tries to run away.
You're welcome.
Essentially, and strangles him, and a mysterious person saves him. Oh, it's Ron, and he gets the sword out. And then he destroys the locket. And in the process...
pulls his sword out?
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, he does.
Well, I remember when this movie first came out, and they were like going, oh, there's a sex scene between Harry and Hermione in this movie.
There's really awkward kissing.
There's not, but that's what everybody advertised it as.
There's really awkward kissing. Like, really nasty awkward kissing.
them panties, girl.
So and it does happen in the book that they come out as like quote unquote more attractive versions of themselves, and I guess what that means is they're naked and Hermione's boobs are 2 inches higher than they should be, and then they make out. I don't know.
2 inches is more than 1 inch.
Well, and the fact that there's a cloud covering over like half of Hermione's butt, so you can see the top half
and again,
of the movie.
I'm telling you, man, she must have hated this movie.
She must have hated it. Yeah, absolutely.
Because whoever the cinematographer, director, whatever, had like a weird thing for teenagers. Like that was something.
David Yates. So yeah.
I just remember that being hyped up as a big selling portion of this movie. It's like,
no,
oh, you get to see Emma Watson naked,
and
it's like, no,
I don't know what fucking forums you were on, but this was not hyped
I'm
up
going to
for
give
me.
Daniel credit here because it made part of the trailer where they were kissing.
Okay,
it was and so that's what I remember too. Because again, I mean, she's a stone cold hottie, and this is 2010 when I was. Sure. God, how old am I now? 35? So 25, and she's almost my age. And so I don't have a chance because she has dignity. But, you get it. But yeah, I mean, that I remember. And it's, your standard Christmas release, which means there was trailers 100 a day back before we streamed everything. And so we never see commercials.
Right. That's exactly the point. They used that whole controversy as a selling point, and
which is garbage.
Well, that's what it was. It's page 6 nonsense, but still, it works because, I mean, you're not going to put Ron on the front of anything sexy. I I'm sorry, man.
Well, then how does
sometimes puberty hits people hard, man.
That is very true.
I ran out at the age of 30.
All right, so you're not going to put Ron on anything sexy. Then how does Ed Sheeran have a career?
Because he's not sexy, he has talent. Second, I will say, I will say too, you know how we get drunk on our birthdays? Everyone does, or something. We have altered states.
The week of my birthday.
A friend of mine, a mutual friend of mine, none of you. I said mutual because I need friends. But a friend of mine had a birthday, and she lives in Texas now. But I said happy birthday, and she was drunk when she responded to the Facebook message, and she goes, "Oh, thanks. I had such a crush on you in middle school." And here's the thing: no one has a crush on a man in middle school because
I did.
Males in middle school look like halfway between Frankenstein's monster and Slender Man.
They're more.
They're I could barely walk in a fucking straight line.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, man.
All right, so can I just say something real fast? Because I had a huge crush on this guy in middle school. And I was not a good-looking person in middle school. I mean, I was that nerd. I was the smart girl. I had glasses, braces, acne, you name it, I had it. So I hated that this guy didn't like me back, right? And I went to this tiny private Catholic school. So there's only 8 of us in our class. And one day I did this thing, and I wrote him a note with lyrics from Heartbreaker, and I gave it to him. And at the end of it, I wrote, if you ever grow up, give me a call.
Ooh,
and it's one of those things that, like, it keeps me up at night.
I mean, Myron.
It keeps me up at night, because I'm just like, I did that. It's one of those things where you're almost asleep, and your brain goes, hey, you remember that time that you gave Johnny that note with the thing?
Oh, sure. No,
you guys, in February, he fucking sent me a picture of it. It was in a box at his house 20 years later.
What?
20 years later, this fucking shit survived. My brain was right to warn me about this. And I literally sat there and I went, all of my nightmares still exist. I never aged past middle school. This note written in green crayon from my brother's backpack in my mom's Astro van survived. And he sent me a picture with, how are you? And it's like,
nothing is sexier than an Astrovan.
Anyway, they're engaged now. They're going to be married in 6 months.
Yeah, I haven't told my husband yet, though.
Don't worry, he doesn't listen. Also, I will say, just to ease your tension, I saw a potential future drive past me at one point. So around Thanksgiving, I was visiting my folks, and one of the first crushes of mine was in the neighborhood, because you meet the girl on the bus, right? Like, that's what happens. Right. And then my parents live in the same neighborhood. This girl, her name was Andrea, because she pronounced it that way. She had long, straight black hair, and I mean, this was 7th grade or whatever, 6th grade, like, you know, whatever. But her parents still live in the neighborhood. So I was driving out of the neighborhood, and in the front seat, driving was, I assume, her, because she looked the same, but my age.
Right.
Next to her was her mom, with straight black and gray hair, and the, like, Christina Ricci and Addams Family, like, hair, like, forehead thing going. Like, and in the back seat was a daughter who was 10, with the straight black hair, who looked, again, exactly like her. It was 3 generations of my future driving the other direction. I was like, holy shit, I've been married to Wednesday Addams. And then my brain rebooted so hard, I forgot I was the one driving and had to be double correct.
I just want to say, being married to an adult Wednesday Addams sounds kind of good.
It's fine. It's totally fine. It was just weird to see 3 generations of the same woman who looked the exact same driving the opposite direction of me in the neighborhood I was driving away from my parents. My brain took a hard stop. So you know how this movie ends? Because I don't. I'm blurring them together. I watched them back to back like you did.
There's a couple things that happen. They go to Mr. Lovegood's place, Luna's dad, who is actually the person that explains what the Deathly Hallows are.
Right, and he's having a nervous twitch, and we don't know why.
Until later, but yes.
Right, but he's like sweating and scratching himself like a junkie.
Which I would have loved if there was like a Harry Potter movie or any movie that had the animation style of what his story is. I mean, that was the best part of this movie. It was gorgeous.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, the Deathly Hallows, according to the story, are apparently 3 wizards met death,
and I mean, speaking of Terry Gilliam, it's like a kind of claymation version of what he does. It's incredible. Right. But there are 3 brothers who essentially defeat death.
It's Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Well,
That's
they
what this
outsmart
is.
They outsmart. And they get 3 things, which is a stone which gives everlasting life,
the resurrection stone.
Which I thought was the Sorcerer's Stone from the beginning, but it's not.
Right.
It's a different stone.
It's a different stone.
A Cloak of Invisibility, which we've already been introduced to.
Cut from Death's cloak himself.
Right. And the Elder Wand, which is the most powerful wand of all time.
Right. And what was it? The person with the invisibility cloak is the one who actually
Ignotus Peverell.
Death.
Right.
Ignotus Peverell.
Which is apparently Harry's great or something.
Yeah.
Right.
He's the last surviving person of Ignotus Peverell's line.
And I want, and again, like Daniel said, the animation for this is gorgeous.
Beautiful.
It's what I want.
Beautiful.
Like, and I mean, speaking of Terry Gilliam, I want that Don Quixote or something because it's all like medieval armor.
Yeah.
It's cool. Like,
I really don't think that could have been done any better way, and it's so much better than just watching someone read a book.
It's so good.
I think it was an amazing idea. I love it. And
as a directing choice, this might be the most incredible scene.
Yeah, it's definitely the most beautiful scene by far.
Yeah.
By far.
And then the Death Eaters show up at Lovegood's house.
So Lovegood calls them because they have Luna.
Yes.
They kidnapped Luna off the Hogwarts Express, which is a little extra background.
Which I sympathize with because he clearly doesn't want to do it.
Yes.
Again, this is a scene, and again, Daniel, I get your complaints about this. You could almost cut 20 minutes out of this movie, but this is an incredible sequence from when they arrive at the Lovegoods to the end of this movie. Like, everything about it hurts.
It
hurts.
It does. And so they have to get out of there once the Death Eaters get there. So they disapparate after the house blows up. Why does it blow up in the movie?
Because the Death Eaters attack. They're shooting. They're randomly shooting in.
By the way, Dobby's there at this point.
No, he's not.
No.
You're confused.
So
you fuckhead.
Yeah, he's not there yet. So they leave and they go in the forest, and Harry says Voldemort, which is now taboo. And so that name, saying Voldemort, immediately calls. No, that's not how it happens, is it? It's how it happens in the book. They even talk about it in the movie. Is that they disapparate right into a fucking horde of snatchers, including Fenrir Greyback, who is the creepy guy that keeps saying he wants Hermione. It's because he's a werewolf and he prefers to eat and devour young women.
They decided.
Whoa! You talking about like the main snatcher?
No, one of the other guys is like, "Can I have her?" Like the really creepy guy.
They disapparate onto a beach right at this point. Or is that later?
No, that's later. No. Beach is later.
No, in the wilderness, they go to Malfoy Manor, where everyone's locked in the basement.
So the Snatchers take them to Malfoy Manor because they're pretty sure it's Harry Potter. Because they can kind of see the scar, but Hermione hits him with a bee sting jinx.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, yeah.
So then they get, to Malfoy Manor. Bellatrix.
No, Beatrix Potter.
Bellatrix
comes out and she's just throwing rabbits at him.
Yeah. So they put Harry and Ron in the basement in the dungeons basically, and
with
Ollivander and Griphook and Luna are there, and Bellatrix tortures Hermione to find out what else they took from her vault. So this is how we know the Sword of Gryffindor, which they had with them, was supposedly in her vault. She's like, we didn't take anything. She carves mudblood into her arm, which is a detail I did not think was needed. It never happens in the book. It's something absolutely terrible that does not need to happen in the movies at all. She uses a Cruciatus jinx. They are like screaming and pounding on things. They send Wormtail
Dobby
down.
comes back.
Dobby does come back.
And that's how they disapparate.
Oh, because fucking Harry pulls this fucking mirror out of his pocket that's never fucking discussed from book 5.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, sees it, help us. So he sends Dobby. And they're like, Dobby. So Dobby takes grip hook Ollivander and Luna and gets them to safety. And then they hear the pop, I guess, in the book. I don't remember what happens in the movie because at this point in the movie, I just go, "You're fucking stupid." And
well,
so
I mean, at this point in the
Wormtail
movie,
comes down the stairs.
Bellatrix is torturing Hermione, right?
Yeah, we went through.
Yeah.
No. And Draco shows up, and Harry at this point disarms Draco Malfoy, right?
After he takes Wormtail's wand, and Wormtail kills himself because he is magically indebted to Harry.
And Dobby then drops
A chandelier on Bellatrix.
A scene out of a Mr. Bean movie again. Like, oh no!
It was far too long of a comedic sequence. It could have been a good 10 seconds shorter, but I enjoyed it.
And then at this point, depending at what place the moon is in the sky, I'm sure you cried for 20 minutes because...
Okay, so here's what happened. So what happened was... Bellatrix goes, "How dare you betray your master?" And Dobby says, "Dobby has no master. Dobby is a free elf." He steals all of their wands with his magic, and they leave. And Bellatrix throws a knife as they leave, and it's in the disapparition. And when they land at Shell Cottage, which is where Bill and Fleur are, it's where Ron had been hiding out. That's how they knew how to get there. It stabs Dobby, and Dobby dies. So not only is that incredibly upsetting, but if you do the Warner Brothers studio tours, the only model that they have left of Dobby is that body. So when you're walking through and you're looking at the progression of what the goblins look like from the first movie to the final movie, and you're going through and you're looking at the dummies of Ron and Hermione in the lake from Goblet of Fire, and then you turn a corner and it's just fucking dead bleeding Dobby right there in front of you, and it's like, why would
I'd give you a hug, but you know COVID.
Well, everyone
it's a
can't see
memorial.
right now, but Kellie is definitely tearing up.
Thank you, Daniel.
I'm sure they can hear it. It's heart-wrenching. And then the last thing he says is, you know, Harry Potter was my friend. I'm glad to be with my friends. And it's just, and Luna closes his eyes, and that's it. Like,
and they bury them traditionally, not with magic.
Yeah, he insists on it, and that's where we end this movie.
Well,
and it's just a fucking
no.
Well,
the
that's
very
fair.
end of the movie
is
the very last scene is Voldemort goes to Dumbledore's grave and grave robs him of the Elder Wand because it's revealed that
we had missed that.
Dumbledore has
while
had
they were
it.
in the basement, Harry sees into Voldemort's mind, and he realized that it was Grindelwald that had the wand. He stole it from
the other wand maker.
Grigorovich.
Yeah.
Right.
Which we kind of glossed
Who
over.
we see, we've met Grigorovich, right? Because he was in the Goblet of Fire.
He was not. He was in the book.
No,
I thought he was the head of one of the armies.
No.
It just has another similar name.
Crumb's wand is made by Grigorovich. Grindelwald is the dark wizard that Dumbledore defeated, which we've heard about a couple of times. He steals the wand from Grigorovich, and then Voldemort goes to Nuremberg prison.
Nuremberg?
Nuremberg.
The Nuremberg trials in the Harry Potter.
And no, but it's similar on purpose. But
I'm sure it is. Subtle.
You know, asked him, and he's like, "You know who has it?" And so then he kills Grindelwald finally as well, and then
grave robs.
Yep.
And that's literally the last scene where, like,
Yeah.
you know, if you thought you had a plot device, you should be buried. I'm just gonna throw that out there. But whatever. You just see, like, Rafe finds heavy breathing over a corpse and taking
floating
a wand.
over a corpse for some reason, like literally just floating there because
of the size of his massive wand. Okay, so let's wrap this puppy up because we've been talking for 2.5 hours.
Yeah. So Myron, what do you think? Does it hold up?
I do like this part one. I mean, it does a good, since they had time to split over 2 movies. It gave them a little more time to hit the main plot points well. So that lined up with the book, pretty much. So it was good. It kept me engaged because, and I think that was a good halfway point of Voldemort getting the Elder Wand, and now he's like, oh shit, now he's like really unstoppable at this point. I think it left. It was a good point to leave off, wanting to know what the next part is.
In general, I hate two-part movies. They're ridiculous. Either combine it into one movie or make it a mini-series on TV or something, but this is just... The fact that this is part one already raises red flags with me, and even beyond that, this movie, especially in the last half, was boring. I don't care about these characters going on a camping trip in the woods. I mean, there were some interesting parts, but I think they could have been folded into a full movie with part two, which we'll get to next week, and... I don't know. I remember seeing this in theaters, going to the midnight show, and I didn't like it then. I don't like it now.
I'm going to make one quick correction, Daniel, only because this is our Patreon episode, so it'll be next month. But I will say, at one point in the future, maybe various Spider-Man, maybe this time Tom Holland, will edit it into one movie. But I'm going to only disagree with you because I would have agreed with you the first time I saw it if I didn't rewatch it for this. I thought the first time it was too long in the woods. I thought like the weird sexual chemistry that was never resolved just felt empty. This time I enjoyed it. I really did. I thought the movie could have been tightened a bit, but that doesn't mean it needed to change much. I will disagree with Kellie in that I think this movie succeeds from a suffering that so many things had changed along the franchise over the previous 6 movies that at a certain point they just had to resolve everything, and that means resolving all the inconsistencies throughout all the 6 previous movies. So, yeah, it doesn't align with the book, but at a certain point you just have to make a movie end. I enjoyed it. I like the second one better, which is stay tuned for next month. But I will say it just depends on what kind of movie you like. If you're interested in the relationships, fine. This is the one you want. If you're interested in the special effects of the magic, I think the second one has more magic and more effects. And that being said, I want the special effects magic nonsense. And someone I missed from this movie who is in the next one and he's great is Neville. I feel bad because Neville is the boy who's forgotten. Like, it's the one thing that this movie, this franchise has, which I miss, which no other franchise has. Like, what if you were almost the savior?
Exactly.
And that's Neville Longbottom.
The movies never talk about that. That is a book thing only.
And then Neville gets his day in the last movie several times. And that's why I like it more, because I mean, I don't know who you are. I'm never going to be Harry Potter, but I could almost be a Neville.
Well, I mean, put those John Lennon glasses on. You could be Harry Potter.
I mean, but could I have the smolder?
No.
Damn straight. And that's for someone who likes me.
So,
Kellie, take us home.
Okay. I like this movie better than the second because I feel like the second let me down on a huge level because of the connection I feel to the 7th book. It was my first book that I got as it came out. It saved me. We kind of went through that in a few of the other episodes. So I like this better because I feel like, for the most part, it's closer.
Sure.
I will say that I don't necessarily disagree with Daniel, but I'm going to take a different look. I feel like 6 and 7 should have been split up into 3 movies.
Yeah.
Or 6 and 7 should have been split up into 2 movies because the camping could have been cut. I'll give you that. But I will say, if you're a fan of Lord of the Rings, which I am, the camping didn't bother me.
I will. Sorry, I would just say, to your point, the only thing I agree with Daniel and don't like about this is this started the trend, and The Hobbit should never have been 3 movies.
That is a fucking fact. Good
That's
start.
right.
But the Lord of the Rings trilogy came out first, and it did blend books.
It did.
So I think if Harry Potter had done that, and even if it was still 3 parts, there was a lot of 6 that was left out. We didn't get Dumbledore's funeral. We didn't get the history to Dumbledore's funeral. We didn't get anything about anything related to that and anything that I'm going to get into in part 2. And I feel like if we had taken those 3 movies, or these 2 books, and made them 3 movies with no set cut, I would have enjoyed that better. We'd extended 6 a little bit.
So you'd have called it Harry Potter
and
the goings on
and yeah.
Exactly, you're right, because it
Harry
was
Potter
done,
senior year, the graduation, like spring break woo.
Right.
because it was done book by book. That would have been really hard to do. But I think the 7th book came out the same summer the 5th movie came out.
That's correct.
They could have made it work marketing wise. They really could have.
So you really wanted 4 instead of 2 movies.
I want
A 6, 1, and 2, and a 7, 1,
No,
and 2.
I still want the 3. I just feel like extend the 6 a little bit into 7 part 1, and then
I kind of hate the trend where people just don't want to watch long movies, quote unquote. I mean, one of my personal favorite movies is Once Upon a Time in America, which is almost 4 hours long.
I mean, now that they have the reclining seats, they didn't used to have the reclining seats.
That's true.
And speaking as someone with a physical disability, sitting in a regular chair, even for the 5th movie, I'm glad I wore a skirt. I had to take my prosthesis off. Like, I was in a lot of pain.
I will say there needs to be like a king of Hollywood or a queen of Hollywood who just
Well,
says, I mean, of course, but like, what's that fucking Queen's Gambit, Chess for Dummies, whatever that movie show?
That was a really good series.
I like it, but you could also have made it into a 3-hour movie.
Yes, you could have.
That's what I'm saying. Like, because that should have been one movie. Harry Potter, that last season could have been an entire 8-part series.
If someone decided
right?
to,
Like,
if someone decided to do a Game of Thrones for Harry Potter, like I would probably be in it. I would be so
great.
ready for it.
You know, Kelly.
And the first you shut your whore mouth. The first episode could be a made-for-TV movie, like 2-hour movie of just the first book. Everything else after that could be season after season, because that first book could be 2 hours.
Do you know what I think would be better?
What's that?
I think
Hardcore pornography.
You're right, but maybe let's not set the books by a season, and maybe the first season is exactly what you asked for. It's the history. It's the first Wizarding War.
That first Wizarding War is actually interesting, dude. Like a young Lucius Malfoy with like a man bun, like fighting that shit against against like Dumbledore. Dumbledore is like a general.
He's still
in
a
this
part
shit.
of it. Like he's a huge part of it. He was still headmaster at Hogwarts. Like it's. So, anyways, my take as a movie is that the movie stands up. None of the effects hurt me. And I am fully capable of appreciating a movie as a movie. I can do that. As long as I've never read the book. So, thank you so much for listening.
Right.
Thank you all so much for listening. We're glad to have had you. This has been Harry Potter Part 1, so stay tuned. I will be back to annoy you guys with my negativity extra again next month with Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2.
And we're out.
How long was that?
Myopia Movies is produced by Nick Hoffman and Daniel Settis. It is hosted by Nick Hoffman and Daniel Settis. Mission Briefing is hosted by John Copsey. Podcasts are edited by Daniel Settis, and Patreon is edited by Nick Hoffman. Our engineer is Nick Hoffman.